Hello, my name is Jay Carpenter. I am founder of StarChain, and this is our community session on Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And this is an opportunity just to kind of do an update on what's been happening and allow people that are interested in the project to hop on and have a little discussion. So, things have been a little quiet, but I can assure you things have been happening behind the scenes with StarChain. And I'll talk about a particular topic tonight. I've got a presentation on Trustlines, which I think are a very important and powerful dimension of the Stellar blockchain, and particularly relevant to StarChain. But just to kind of bring you up to speed in terms of what's been going on. Hello, Serge. Welcome
Hello,
to the
Jay.
call. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Glad you could make it. So
Yes.
I'm just kind of doing a little introduction here, and I'll run through a few slides, and then we can kind of chat about what's been going on and so forth. But I was talking about the trust lines with Stellar and how I think the trust lines are particularly conducive and complementary to StarChain and powerful. I'm not sure there are other ecosystems out there that have the trust line functionality, but um, that in combination with the federated Byzantine agreement and the quorum slicing, I think makes continues to assure me as I move through StarChain that I think Stellar is the right choice for starting this project off and then expanding it to other chains and other ecosystems. So, yeah, do you have any thoughts on that, Serge?
No, I think you're right, and I think I wanna demonstrate today just one of the applications that I put out there that communicates the messages. So when we have time, if we have time, I can share my screen and show you how that works so far.
Very cool. All right, well, let me run through this slide presentation real quick and just talk about the trust lines, how they work, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. I'd love to see this on the communication side. So, all right. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. And the this is a lot of the same material that we went through last week, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I didn't remove it because we're in the early stages. I'm not sure how much people are watching, but I just wanted to kind of, if people hadn't seen the prior session, they'd at least have some material to look at and reference. But the primary piece that I wanted to talk about tonight is the trust lines. And in particular, because the trust lines are really important in establishing the structure of this registry, registrar, registrant model. And basically, the first trust lines start off where the green arrows are, where the registry issues a trust line or assures there's a trust line to the registrars. And then the registry will create trust lines to the registrants as well in order to issue the non-fungible tokens to both layers, the registrar and the registrant layers. And then conversely, uh, well, excuse me, and then there'll also be communication or connection that's affirmed and cryptographically secure between the registrars and the registrants. And then after that, whoops, going the wrong way. It'll go both ways. It'll go from registrant to registrar and then registrant to registry. So I think there's a pretty powerful binding of trust, acknowledged trust and cryptographically assured trust that's afforded by the trust lines. And I haven't really played with it, but I wanted to emphasize it this week because I think it's an important piece to the overall trust component, as well as how these three layers are going to operate with one another. So again, the responsibilities that I've boiled it down to just two elements per layer. The registrants will have choice and responsibility, and we talked about that last week. The registrars will be primarily tasked with authentication and validation, and then the registry is the primary goals there is to assure that there's order and aliveness. So again, here's a list of, and this is the same list as last week, of some of the things to be done, to be worked on. This is our Discord channel. Here's our Zoom link, and that's pretty much it. So any questions you have about the trust lines, Serge, before I shut down the presentation?
Yeah, I'd like to see one transaction that you do to create for each one of those layers. So I think that's important for me to be able to understand the data movements between all the different layers.
Well, right now, the only thing that I'm showing is, and you can see this every day at 2 o'clock on the Discord channel under the daily creations. But every day at 2 o'clock, there is an NFT that is minted and effectively sent to, let's call it, it could be the registrar level or the registrant level. So you can, that transaction each day might be informative to you in terms of how I actually go through it. I'll be happy to step through that on another session. But over the weekend, I did automate the process on testnet, and I've got code that's working that with basically the click of a button, a trust line can be established, and a click of another button, NFT can be created. So I'm pleased with how that's coming together. And I have taken a step back because once I got into the automation of that process, and the code is in JavaScript, by the way, I'm not doing it via Soroban, but once I got into that process, I realized that I really need to take a little time to map out and design more of a all-encompassing set of functionality for this so that things start to operate together as they're built out. But one thing that I would like to point out is I'm pretty sure I want to stay only with the JavaScript SDK, the Horizon SDK, and I don't think I'm going to get into the Soroban and the Rust. And the reason being is I want to make this as friendly to as many developers as possible. And I think all the functionality that I envision for StarChain can be accomplished with the JavaScript SDK. And so that's where I'm leaning at this point. But I'm pretty sure you're going to show some communication methods that does use the RPC and the Rust implementation and so forth. And that's exactly what this is designed to do, is have StarChain be sort of the foundation, and then give people like yourself the creativity to start to build some cool stuff that has the enhanced Soroban capabilities and so forth. So anything you'd like to say about that before I turn off the screen share?
No, I think you're right. I think we can just use the JavaScript to automate the features of the system. So, but it's not really the only option. So yeah, you're right. We can definitely use Rust in this case as well. And was going to demo the Rust decoder for you. So if you want to take a look at that, I just need the encoded value. So if you could send me one that I can demo right now, or I can grab one, I guess, from our Discord channel, right?
Yeah. If you grab one of those links, like today, it'll take you right to the base 64 encoded link, be it the NFT or the hash of the public keys. So I don't know if you can find that on the Discord, but if you click on one of those,
Is it the first one or the second one? You do two of them per day, right?
yeah. So the first one, the registry to registrar will take you to the bit.ly. When you decode that base 64, it'll take you to the bit.ly link that will
Okay.
give you the it's not resolving anymore because I think Pinata cuts you off after a certain period of time because they want you to sign up for their pinning service. But it will show you the IPFS content ID in the bit.ly link. And if you have uh, a gateway to IPFS, you can put that content ID in and it will return the um, the StarChain link. So anyway,
Okay, so I'm
yeah,
about to share my screen.
yeah,
Let me
there
know
you
if you
go.
see my screen.
Yeah, you've got it. You can see the under the value there is the base 64.
So I
Um,
grabbed the first one of today, 2:06 p.m. it looks like, and I
correct.
see this value right now. Is this
Right.
the value that you're talking about?
That'll take you to the NFT.
Okay. So I have both the sender and the receiver application in Rust right here. So
Cool.
I'm going to first
Can
run.
you can you enlarge in that at all? Hit a
I'm not sure if I
if
can.
you hit a control plus, that should uh, zoom in a bit.
Oh, it's not doing it.
Okay. All right. Not a problem. Um,
So
okay, cool.
I'm going to run the receiver endpoint, which says now start chain server listening on port 7878. And the sender application, here's where it says enter the message to send. So this application will be sending it to the receiver. In this case, I will paste that value that you're creating
Hmm.
and press enter. It decoded it on this part to a URL. I do see that.
Okay, so do you
HTTPS bit.ly some value right there, but it's not coming back fast enough. Is there a problem with the server?
well, it's the pinata that is the gateway for that URL. They're not resolving.
Yeah,
They're
it
not.
says HTTP response request timed out for
Yeah,
file non-pinata
exactly.
IP. Yeah, error ID
Yeah,
0001
yeah,
6.
right. So what that means is that Pinata is no longer resolving or allowing this Bitly link to access IPFS. Um, which is problematic. Um, if I were to subscribe to Pinata for their pinning service, then it would resolve and return the StarChain link, which is star 150 star. Uh,
Yeah, when I tested it, I did see it at some point. This was a week or two before, I think.
right, but what I'm saying is that Pinata now, and I this is just conjecture on my part, but they only operate this gateway for free for a certain period of time.
Got it. Okay.
So if you had a access to IPFS directly, you could throw in that content ID that starts with like Q something, and it would return the actual value of the StarChain link. But what you're showing shows the communication between the sender and the receiver,
Correct.
which that's really important. Um, so, and you're also demonstrating your ability to convert from the base 64 to the bit.ly URL, which is important automatically.
Yes, and I have a Node.js version of that here. I think, let me try to test and run this too. It's very simple. So I think if I go to the server one, server is running on localhost 3000. Okay, so let's launch Postman in this case and test it out with Postman. Oh, what is this? Allow. Okay, so oh, here I was already testing it with a value that you see up here, and
Yeah, it's really small, Serge. It's very hard to see.
so let me stop sharing and only share that one application. I think that might help. Let me just share the Postman. Where is it? It's this one. Let me know if this is better.
um, a little bit. Again, try pressing Control and plus and see if it
I'm
zooms
pressing
in.
Control Plus. It's not doing
It's not
anything.
doing it. Okay. Um,
So again, going back, let me stop and reshare the entire
it
screen.
might be Shift Control plus. Try that.
Layout and options. Hold on. Oh, we are on Zoom, right? This is
We're on Zoom, yeah, but
shared.
it's just very small.
Are you seeing my entire screen now?
I see your entire screen now. Yes.
So you said shift and what was it again?
Sit, Shift and Control at the same time, and then hit the plus symbol on the top of your
I, I
key.
I tried. It's not doing,
Not
or
doing it.
I'm not seeing any changes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any changes either. Okay. Um, all right. Well,
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is now that the server is actually running in Node.js, listening in on port 3000, we're gonna use Postman to send it the encoded value. Then we should see some decryption happening there. So decoding. There it is, decoded in the background. It says to that URL, but it is still having the same exact issue to resolve,
right.
right?
That's a pinata issue.
Got it. Okay.
So if you found another IPFS gateway and put that content ID in it, it would probably resolve to the StarChain link. But
Okay.
um,
Request timed out. Yeah, it
yeah,
says
yeah,
request failed.
yeah. Um, cool. Well, and I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit, but I'd prefer you continue to talk about what you've built here and how you think it could function and interoperate with other pieces and so forth.
Yeah,
So
so right now this is just a one node that's able to receive. We authenticate against an API key that we can provide to end users, and then the authentication, once that is complete, then the the decoding is where it happens here. We we pass it on to the decode base64 and respond back with making first a call to that decoded URL to do a get. We do a get method to that URL and get the HTTP response, which should contain that string that you're referring to, StarChain string.
Correct.
And if it
Right.
fails, it should. But this still needs some more work because we do need to create the structured data on this. It's not very structured right now. It's just giving you back the string. So I'm not sure if we need to develop a structured JSON to respond back so that someone can consume that JSON and retrieve the values that they need from the JSON object.
Well, what I discovered over the weekend in exploring and experimenting with the test net and putting together some Node.js, a Node.js server along with some JavaScript code is that I think the whole bit.ly uh, URL shortening can be done away with. Um, and there's a way to put multiple entries in the metadata and break it down such that you don't have this string that exceeds the boundaries. So the direction that I'm looking to go into once I kind of get back into the swing of the development side is to eliminate the bit.ly part completely and break up the data into pieces that can be assembled elsewhere. And uh, you'll still have to do the base 64 decoding, but you won't have to mess around with the gate. Well, um, you won't have to mess around with the bit.ly for sure. And I also want to incorporate IPFS directly so that there's a tighter integration directly with IPFS. And then I think it becomes very powerful. Have you played with IPFS, by the way?
In the past, but not recently. No.
Okay. Um, so those were some things that I was really excited about over the weekend is discovering that there can be multiple entries in the key value portion of the metadata. And I also tested the limitations on the different data elements, and all of them worked. All of them complied with the limitations. So I think it opens up some really powerful pieces. And it also opens up some um, well, I'll just leave it at that. It opens up some powerful stuff. Um, so any questions you have for me or about that? I know I'm kind of hand waving here and I don't have any code or anything to show,
No,
but
and I'm showing here that same application that I just ran in JavaScript. So if you want to download this and run it locally, you can download. I added some instructions here to how to even make a call to it.
cool.
So and this is what it was returning to me when I was working on this right there.
Hmm.
But as of now, right now we have the
That
issue that
looks that looks like an XDR to me. But anyway, I don't know. Interesting.
you should get a response from the. So this is not the values with the star. Maybe my
No, it's
when I
not.
copied. Okay.
No. Let me go back to screen sharing just a minute. I'll show you what it should be returning. The actual link looks like. So I don't know if you can see that now, but the so it should be returning basically this, the star, the
Got it.
15
Yeah.
zeros. That's that's the next breadcrumb. This hash gets you to these public-private keys, and
Yes.
and that's really the next step to open the door and get into the world of the respective StarChain links, uh, which I think that's the direction you're headed. But
Yeah,
you
and
know,
I thought I was getting the right value, but I guess I just need to revalidate that too.
if I had to
But you could,
get, if I had to guess, it looks like that looks like an XDR to me. I don't know where it's coming from, but I think it's some sort of base 64, basic 58 encoding from somewhere.
okay. Well, when you get that server running again, the IPFS, we can maybe test it out again or try to see if we can modify it to get it to the value that we need.
Yeah, I've been pretty quiet on Discord and just in general because I've really been what opened up this weekend was I need more of an all-encompassing game plan to efficiently move this forward. Um, it's quite exciting, but it's also I have to understand more of the functionality of the Stellar network and also get an idea as to how these pieces can be communicated, how they can be encrypted, decrypted, encoded, decoded, all the things that you're playing with, I'm also playing with. Um, but suffice it to say that I think this is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see. You're off to Meridian next week, right?
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm gonna join them this year and try to observe and learn as much as I can.
Cool. Well, I wish I was going, but I'm not. But I will be, um, working away on this stuff. So I'm guessing I won't see you next week on
Yes, I
this,
will.
but
I will. Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, you'll be in London. Um,
Yes, I will not be able to join next week, but the following week, hopefully, I should be back and yeah,
cool.
join.
All right. Um, well, thanks for participating, Serge, and thanks for what you're creating. Very exciting. This is coming together well. Um, and I think once we get it a little bit further along, it'll definitely create some interest, let's say. So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
all right. Have a good evening and have a great conference in London. All right.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.